How's the day going for you so far?
The day is going great. This is actually my first movie junket.
Oh, that's, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Were you nervous the first day coming in to do, you know, to voice your character? How was that for you?
I was a little nervous because there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with playing a part that's named after Dr. Seuss's wife. Audrey is Dr. Seuss's wife's name, and she's the one that this book was dedicated to. So there's a lot of responsibility in making this character someone who is A, you know, worthy of being named that, B, worthy of this entire quest that happens. She's the catalyst for it. So, you know, Audrey, the way I see her, she's this daydreamer and she's artistic and she's different from everyone else around her because everyone else in her society doesn't care about the past. They just care about the right now and the convenient, and she cares about these things called trees that used to exist but somehow they're gone, and she's curious about why.
Is this something, is animation something that you pursued yourself, or did Universal come to you and say, hey, we think we have a great part for you?
Universal came to me with this script and they offered me the role right away, and I said yes right away because Dr. Seuss played a huge part in my early development of loving poetry and words and stories and rhymes. I became pretty obsessed with poetry after I started reading Dr. Seuss, and I started writing poetry and entering myself in little grade school like poetry contests and the whole thing, and that later, you know, transformed into songwriting. So I think I have a lot to thank Dr. Seuss for.
It's pretty amazing for a man that had no children to be able to write such complex and wonderful books for kids, you know? I mean, what was your personal favorite?
My personal favorite was The Lorax, and that's why this was an immediate yes.
Yeah.
I am absolutely terrified of the idea that you don't know what you have until it's gone. I've just always been, I've always tried to be really self-aware about taking care of what you have while you have it, and that's exactly the lesson you take away from this book.
How different is the direction for you, like, compared to recording a song?
It's a very different direction.
Very different direction?
You know, with recording music, I write it all. So when I go into the studio to record a song, it's all about going back to where I was when I wrote the song and taking myself back there emotionally. With voiceovers for a character in an animated film, you're by yourself. You're in your imagination, you're coming up with these characters who aren't there and imagining how they would sound when they're talking to you, how they would respond, how you would then respond to them.
So Chris never actually read the role of the other characters to you?
You know, I think that there was...
So you'd have somebody to play off of?
You know, I think that there was some of that going on, but, you know, it's not Danny DeVito reading his role, it's not Zach reading his role. Right. So you're kind of creating this in your head, and you're also creating the priorities and the backstory of this girl who lives in a world that is nothing like your world, and how does she respond, and how does she react, and maybe she's blindly optimistic about this, and how would she say that, and how does she perceive her relationship with this little kid that keeps crashing his plane into her backyard. You know, it's all about being her, which was kind of nice to take a break from being me for a second.
What was your reaction when you first saw the film?
I love it. Oh my gosh, I felt so lucky to get to be a part of this film because it feels like you're watching it and you have so many different reactions. You're laughing, it's delightful, you're thinking this is cute, you're thinking this giant scene is gorgeous, and you're having such a blast watching this journey, and it doesn't really fully hit you until the end that this is a metaphor for our life and for our world. And you've got to think about your life and the choices you're making, and are we really headed there? And I think it's important for a young generation to wonder about that.
Well, you were great in the movie, so yeah.
Well,
I'm looking forward for more animated roles from you.
Thank you.
Thanks
nice
a lot, I appreciate it.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming.